It was supposed to be a quiet night. The kind of night where healing begins after months of discipline, solitude, and national duty. But instead, under the sterile fluorescent lights of a Seoul police station, an emotional storm unfolded. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS, broke down in uncontrollable tears while giving his official statement to the police about the Seokjin who had invaded his home just hours after his military discharge. Present with him was Jin, his brother, and now his guardian. Witnesses at the scene say the moment was raw and devastating. Jungkook had tried to remain composed at first, answering questions with short, precise statements. But when asked to recall the exact moment, he realized someone had entered his private space, a place that was meant to be sacred and safe. His voice cracked. His hands trembled. And then, without warning, the dam broke. Jungkook wept. He tried to shield his face with his hands, murmuring apologies between sobs. "I'm sorry. I'm trying," he was overheard saying. It was a haunting image. Not the golden magne, not the global pop star, but a young man who had been hunted inside his own home. And that's when Jin stepped forward. Without hesitation, he walked over and pulled Jungkook into a protective embrace. Cameras weren't allowed inside, but officers and staff confirmed that Jin held Jungkook tightly, whispering something over and over. Later, one officer revealed what Jin said. "You're not alone. We will fight this until the end." That moment, intimate, heartbreaking, and undeniably human, has now gone viral across fan forums and social media. Though no video exists, digital illustrations, reenactments, and fan messages are flooding platforms under the trending hashtag #JinProtectsJungkook. This isn't the first time Jin has stepped up for his members, but this moment carries an unprecedented weight. Jungkook had already expressed his discomfort with stalker-like behavior as early as December 2023, pleading with fans not to send unsolicited deliveries to his home. "Please respect my space," he had said back then. That warning, tragically, was ignored. Now, with a real-life breach occurring, the trauma has escalated. And while HYB remains frustratingly silent on the matter, Jin has taken it upon himself to become the emotional and legal pillar Jungkook desperately needs. Reports say Jin refused to let Jungkook face the police questioning alone. He accompanied him not as a fellow celebrity, but as someone who understood the invisible scars that fame can leave. One staff member described the scene. Jin stood behind Jungkook the entire time, hand on his shoulder. He never once sat down. He was like a fortress. Armies around the world are now flooding police departments and government forums with letters demanding stronger legal action against Seokjin behavior. But even more than that, they're calling for systemic change within entertainment agencies, especially HYB. How is it possible for a stalker to access Jungkook's home hours after his return from military service? Where was the security? The crisis team? The support? It's a question fans are directing at Bang Si-hyuk himself. Meanwhile, Jin has reportedly reached out to trauma therapists to help Jungkook process the event, and there are talks of him arranging a private legal team independent of HYB's resources. While nothing has been confirmed, many believe this may be the start of a bigger movement, one led not by the agency, but by the idols themselves. As they left the station later that night, eyewitnesses say Jungkook had tears in his eyes but walked slightly taller, clinging to Jin's arm like a lifeline. Jin, in return, nodded solemnly at the press but said nothing. He didn't need to, because his actions said everything, and now, the world waits to see what happens next. Not just with the Seokjin case, but with the shifting power dynamic in K-pop. If Jin continues to lead this battle, it won't just be for Jungkook, it will be for every idol who ever feared the knock at their door. Behind closed doors, the investigation continues, but so does the emotional aftermath. Jungkook, though usually private and composed in public, is reportedly undergoing counseling sessions organized discreetly by Jin himself. Sources close to the situation say Jin was the one who insisted that Jungkook seek trauma support immediately, fearing the emotional scars would deepen if left unaddressed. He didn't just see a Seokjin, Jin told a close confidant. He saw the loss of control over his own life. That loss is something Jin knows well. Having served his mandatory military service with the weight of global fame on his shoulders, he returned not just as an idol, but as someone who had finally tasted normalcy, only to watch his brother lose at the moment he stepped back into the real world. For Jin, this wasn't just about sasying behavior. It was about reclaiming dignity. For Jungkook.
For BTS.
For every celebrity whose boundaries had been shredded in the name of love. Police have confirmed that they're treating the case with high priority due to the nature of the break-in and the public profile of the victim. But with every update, fans grow more restless. How was this sasying able to identify the location of Jungkook's house so quickly? Was there an inside leak? Did the sasying follow him during his quiet return from the military? These questions hang heavily in the air, and for now, there are no answers, only speculation and fear. Jin, however, is not speculating. He's acting. Insiders at the Seoul Metropolitan Police have revealed that Jin submitted a formal letter alongside Jungkook's statement, urging the department to not treat this as a celebrity-related incident, but as a direct violation of citizen privacy and home invasion. His wording was strong, almost confrontational. He demanded that the suspect be charged to the full extent of the law, not for who Jungkook is, but for what was done to him as a human being. The letter has since become a legend among officers handling the case. One officer admitted, "We don't usually get celebrities this involved." Jin didn't just show up for press. He showed up for justice. And now the eyes of the entertainment world are watching. Other idols, usually silent on sasying matters, are beginning to quietly show support. A few posted cryptic messages about feeling unsafe or wishing for real protection. Though they didn't mention BTS directly, the timing was clear. Jin has started something, a crack in the foundation of passive tolerance that has allowed sasying culture to fester for years. Meanwhile, Jungkook remains mostly out of the public eye. He hasn't gone back to his house since the incident. Jin has reportedly offered him a temporary place to stay, somewhere completely off the grid. A safe space. Just brothers, no cameras, no fans, no expectations. Healing in real time. But even in silence, Jungkook is speaking volumes. The fact that he went to the police, the fact that he allowed the incident to be reported, the fact that he let Jin hold him in a moment of visible vulnerability, these are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength. They are signs of defiance. He is no longer willing to hide behind PR statements and polite warnings. This time, it's war, and Jin is leading the charge. Whether HYB will follow is another story. As of now, no official statement has been released addressing the incident, the breach in security, or the emotional toll on Jungkook. That silence is becoming deafening. Fans are demanding transparency. They want to know what measures will be taken to prevent this from ever happening again. And they want accountability, not just from the sasying, but from the system that let it happen. Jin, it seems, is prepared to demand that 2.1 anonymous staff member described the current mood inside HYB as unsteady. Executives are reportedly scrambling to draft a long-delayed public response. But Jin's proactive steps, his visible presence at the police station, his direct engagement with legal advisors, and his emotional support for Jungkook have already shifted the narrative. He isn't just a bandmate anymore. He's a symbol of what it looks like when idols refuse to be victims. And as the case progresses, one thing becomes abundantly clear. This isn't just about one sasying. This is about setting a precedent. Jin's vow to fight this until the end isn't just a promise to Jungkook. It's a warning to every stalker, every leaker, every obsessive fan who believes that fame erases the right to safety. Not anymore. Not with Jin standing guard. The days following the police report have been strangely quiet, too quiet. Jungkook has not posted on Weverse, and neither has Jin. No live streams, no cryptic Instagram stories, no reassurances to worried fans. That silence has created a vacuum filled with speculation, outrage, and, most of all, an overwhelming wave of support. Fans across the globe have taken to digital platforms not just to defend Jungkook, but to demand justice. The hashtag #ProtectJungkookNow has trended in over 30 countries. And at the heart of it all is Jin, who many now call the shield of BTS. Behind the scenes, however, the silence masks a whirlwind of activity. Sources close to the matter say Jin has been meeting with legal representatives, not just for Jungkook's immediate protection, but to establish long-term legal reform in how the industry responds to Seokjin crimes. This includes pushing for harsher penalties, mandatory digital tracking of offenders post-release, and even legislation that redefines Seokjin behavior as a serious criminal offense rather than a civil nuisance. One insider close to the legal discussion said, Jin isn't looking for a temporary fix. He's trying to rewrite the way idols are protected in this country. And he's not alone. Rumors have surfaced that members of Jungkook's family, particularly his older brother and mother, have held quiet meetings with HYB's legal team, not for PR, but to question why the company failed to prevent such a breach. According to leaked information, Jungkook's mother is said to be deeply shaken and furious that no preventative measures were in place, despite her son's multiple past warnings. But with Jin by their side, she has found someone she trusts to speak when the system refuses to listen. Jin has reportedly even reached out to government officials anonymously, an act unprecedented for a K-pop idol. While these meetings remain unconfirmed, some insiders suggest that discussions have begun on how celebrity stalking laws can be expanded and reclassified under national safety standards. If true, this could result in one of the most significant legal shifts in South Korea's entertainment history. But amidst all of this, the personal stakes remain heartbreakingly human, according to a staff member who saw Jungkook a few days after the report. He smiled, but his eyes were different. Like something in him had broken that day and hasn't quite come back yet. That same staffer said that Jin stayed close to Jungkook's side the entire day, never letting him walk alone, always checking if he was okay, even during rehearsals. He's treating him like a younger brother recovering from trauma, the staffer added. It's not just friendship, it's something deeper. In private circles, fans have begun writing letters, not just to Jungkook, but to Jin. Many thank him for showing what real loyalty looks like. Others share their own experiences of trauma, hoping their words can offer the comfort that Jin now provides for Jungkook. Some even refer to Jin's role in this crisis as the most important comeback of his life. Not on stage, but in a battle for safety, for privacy, for the right to feel human in a world that constantly demands performance. Still, questions loom. Will HYB release an official statement? Will they publicly support Jin's legal push? And will Jungkook ever return to the house that no longer feels like home? For now, all we know is this: the case is moving forward. The Seokjin has been charged, and more evidence continues to emerge, including CCTV footage, digital footprints, and a troubling notebook found to her possession, filled with handwritten fantasies about Jungkook's daily life. Police say the contents may support a charge of premeditated stalking. Jin is reportedly expected to return with Jungkook to give a second statement in the coming days, this time as an official witness. Many are hoping Jin will also speak publicly soon, not just for ARMY, but for every artist who suffers in silence. If he does, it could become one of the most important turning points in K-pop's history. But even if he doesn't, his actions have already echoed far beyond the walls of that police station, because when Jungkook cried and the world watched in silence, Jin acted. When everyone waited for an agency response, Jin became the response. When a Seokjin crossed a line, Jin drew one of his own. You don't get to call yourself a fan if you break someone to love them. And in that moment, BTS wasn't just a band, and IT was a family. And Jin wasn't just a hyung. He was a shield, a fighter, and a promise that this will never happen again.